What is good? I wanted to take a few minutes to tap in and follow up around the book of Job video I posted, as it got some decent feedback and a lot of questions, right? I wanna I wanna look at it from the perspective of a lot of the feedback was around, why is God playing games? Why would God place a bet? Why would he allow that? And the significance of it, if you really put it in perspective, was that once you arrive at the book of Job, if you read the Bible just in page by page order, it's it's a significant it's a significant portion from the perspective of, by this point in time, a lot of people are losing faith. I mean, a lot of people are losing faith. And this was sort of predicted by God as well. He felt that as the generations got further and further away from 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 the families that he made his initial promises to, that they would come to this conclusion that God would not be someone they would be as faithful to. And so, aside from Samuel, and Samuel was important because Samuel transitioned into the kings, which went from Saul to David. You finally reach Job. And one of the reasons why it hit me so hard was from the perspective of, it was abundantly clear. Like, I don't even remember at any point in the Bible God saying that he had identified, and he said, Job, there was no one on earth like him. So consider that he could say, there's no one on earth like this man. He's that great. He's that upstanding. He's that awesome, phenomenal, sensational. And that he could identify that after years and years and years and decades and centuries of non-faithful people. Cool. So immediately he identifies, this person there's no one like him. And then boom, Satan comes. I'll take him from you. And you're kind of perplexed. Like, okay, here's this guy who's upright, upstanding, no one like him. And now you're going to test him like right away, just like that. And he has everything. He has everything you could possibly ask for as a human, generally speaking. He has land. He has more than enough food. He has a great family. And he's faithful beyond all words. Boom, let's test him. And the tests were significant, and they hit really, really hard. And so the transition for me from this period of non-faithful people, or groups of people who continue to do things like worship false idols, pull away, and not have faith. And for me, lack of faith in God becomes or comes down to lack of faith in oneself as well. If you consider that we're made in his image, then he resides in us, possibly. And so thereby, belief in yourself is also belief in God, because that's your divine power. We're all creators. So now you get to the spot where there's this super faithful guy, and you're going to take his land, you're going to take his family, and you're going to allow him to be sick to the point of death. He's just about to die. He's that sick. And so the questions that were coming back on the comments from the video I put, like, why would God do this? Why would God do this? Why would he make this man suffer? And what's the logical conclusion? I don't know. Why would you? Aside from that question, and I'll get back to it, but I think there's another purpose to it. And the purpose is that regardless of your faith, regardless of your standing, regardless of what you have, you're going to be tested. And you're going to be tested in varying degrees. And sometimes you're going to feel like, I don't deserve this test. And that's a lot of what Job was saying, was I fear God even more. Why? Because I did everything right. I did everything right. And he still took from me. I did everything right. I did everything not just right as far as praising, but I did everything right in that I shared my wisdom. I shared my wealth. I shared my time, my energy. I did all that. And he still took from me. And that's a valid feeling. And so if you're somewhere in life today and you feel like life is taking from you, 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 well, I think the conclusion logically is you're not immune to life. Life's going to take from you. It's going to take and take and take and take. And does it require faith to persevere? I think it's a good logical step. What's the alternative? if you're being taken from and life is pulling at you, I mean, you could fall into I'm not good enough. It wasn't meant to be. I'm going to lose my faith, and you can do that. That's a possibility. I'm not suggesting it isn't, but now the alternate possibility is you've already been taken from. You're already in pain. You're already in suffering. Is faith not a possibility to catapult forward? And Job never lost faith. Job never lost faith. And here's part of the thing that I think folks get tied up on is as if, and Jordan Peterson's talking about this, wrestling with God. Question God. Yo, I think I'm doing everything right. You're giving me all the signs. I'm following the book. I'm following the word. I know what my commandments are. I know what I'm supposed to do. Why are you taking from me? It's a real question. And I think that's a question for life. Why am I being taken from? Some things you can't control. You lose. Loss is the biggest pain in life. You can't predict loss. I've had my share. I'm not unique or different in that way. We all experience loss and close loss. That's painful. That you can do nothing about. Again, the alternatives. You can sit in sorrow for your loss, or you can still be in sorrow and in pain and decide, I'm still going to have faith. I'm still going to have faith that there's possibilities. That's a lot of what Job did. You can take from me, but I have a question. Why do you keep taking? If I do everything right and you take, what's the point? And ultimately, a lot of people walk away from the perspective of his life was doubled. He got double the money, double the land, double the family. And that's great. That is also a possibility. But the takeaway for me was that if I go back to a book I just finished reading, Extreme Ownership. So you talk about a book of faith, Job and God, and you talk about Navy SEALs and extreme ownership. The concept of extreme ownership resides in this one foundational principle. It's all on me. It's all on me. And all on me doesn't mean you can't reflect, ask questions, and try to figure things out. So if God is punishing you or life is punishing you, it's still on you. It's on you. I'm not suggesting you like it or necessarily enjoy it. But what I'm saying is, what's the alternative, right? If Job was able to have his life doubled, how? It wasn't because he lost faith. It wasn't because he stopped persisting. It wasn't because he didn't choose to persevere. It wasn't because he decided to wallow in sorrow. And it's not like he didn't feel that. If you read it, it's constant questioning. Yo, what's the deal? I gave you everything. I provided everything. I spoke the way I should speak, and you still took from me. I'm just asking why. And maybe you'll get an answer. Point being, when you get that answer back to the extreme ownership, now what? Are you going to continue to sit and allow that to persist? That being the what's been taken from you? Are you going to use that as a moment of just grief, tears, and pain and do nothing with it? Or are you going to allow it to be a moment of possible possibility, if that makes sense? Because if you can say, oh, that's great. And I feel like we do this a lot. And I think growing up in my faith, and this is part of what I had difficulties with Catholicism and being raised growing up in the Bronx, as far as this is how you practice faith. So we'll rejoice and we'll pray and we'll preach when we see the outcome is, yay, his life got doubled. But what if it didn't? What if it didn't? Is it lesser of a story? Does it lose its moral value? I think there's moral value in the fact that I don't need nothing in return except for a little bit of answers, a little bit of clarity, a little bit of understanding. And I don't think that God denies that us at any level. He might take things from you that you can't, again, the loss, you lose, it's gone. Family, money, material, that can be taken. Accept that. That goes back to the book, Extreme Ownership. But in those moments, why is this? Am I missing something? Do I need to pivot? Is my faith a little off? Or is this an opportunity to test and get stronger? These are all possibilities, powerful possibilities, in conjunction with the naturalness of it does suck, it does hurt, it is gonna happen. That's also the duality of life. Is that I said this today in one of my videos, right? The idea and the concept that somebody could possibly think, I'm going to freeze you in full bliss and happiness. And that you wouldn't think that somehow you'd lose that feeling. If all there was happy, how would you know anything different? You'd lose the happy. It's the same way when we look to attain on certain levels and we see the tip top of everything, everyone's not meant to get to the top. If everyone was meant to get to the top, why would it feel different to get to the top? And therefore, why would anybody strive to get to the top? There's levels for reasons. And the reality comes back to extreme ownership around there's a multitude of possibilities, many out of my control, some that I can't see, predict, or plan for. But knowing that I can leverage these stories, leverage these moments, and leverage these possibilities to say, when it does come, because it comes for everybody, how am I going to choose to manage that situation? And that's what it is too. They talk about that, switching to a business perspective. To be successful, people who are successful and climb and attain levels in business, they don't react, they respond. And reacting is just like, it's not that you couldn't predict it, but you didn't prepare yourself for the possibility that something really adverse could occur to you. Like Job, I think faith required him to know this could be pulled from me. And if it is, like it was, I'm still going to raise my hand and say, I got faith, I got the power, I could do it, but I got some questions. That's responding, right? Responding is, we just put $10 million into this project and we have project managers and we built this team and we're starting with all the smartest people in the world and things still break. People get sick. Money, the budget that you thought you had, now there's too little. Or maybe you overshot it. Same thing with Job. He did everything right. It's not like he was wrong or miscalculated. There's just some things you can't predict. The responsiveness is building yourself up through faith to say, even if I don't get doubled, even if I come out of this worse on the surface than when I entered, meaning whatever, it was like sheep and oxen back then in that day. You can relate that to money now. I was also watching something. Somebody said he put $100,000 into an investment, lost all of it. And you hear these things and you think when you hear it that you're going to respond the right way. The same way you think when you read a story like Job, the way I talked about Jesus walking through the desert with the devil. Yeah, I'm going to do that. There's no way I'm going to let that stop me. But the truth is, if you don't prepare yourself for what is ultimately inevitable, you just can't, like loss, we talked about loss, inevitable. I can't tell you how it's going to come, but it's going to come. And if you can have the proper faith to say, there goes my dog. Hey, when it comes for me, I'm just going to be able to respond through faith. I'm going to be able to stand and persevere through, back to the book, extreme ownership. All I got is me at the end of the day. Yes, I live for my family. A lot of people, what's your why? What's your why? What's your why? My why starts with me. If I'm not me all the way, I can't take care of my why. Why? Because loss is coming. And so I prepare myself. All right, who am I as a human? I'm faithful. I trust in God. Boom, when he comes for me and when things hit me, I got to be able to have a relationship so I can say, why did this happen? What could I have done to prepare better? What do I need to do now to pivot? Cool. That's one of your relationships. I'm a father. How do I prepare myself to be able to respond as a husband? As a father to children when things pop off. As a husband, same thing. I got 25 plus years in my relationship. Like things, they go like this. They go like this. And sometimes like Job, it goes like this and then it goes like that. And when it goes like that, it's going to hurt. How you respond will dictate if your life is doubled. And that's what I'm going to leave you with. The power of possibility. Can you have faith, not just when it's obvious, and not just when someone tells you to, but when it really hits you? When it really hits you, can you anticipate those moments? Can you leverage them for what they are, which is life? The power of possibility. Hope you enjoyed this. Stay rich.